What is up, my lovely followers of the BluCranium YouTube channel? So for today's video, guys, I'm going to be drawing you all a cat. And it's more kind of like a hybrid version of a cat, because it's got like one or two cats interlocked into this piece. So initially I was trying to draw a mountain lion, and I think if you look at the skull of them, they kind of have these cool tusk looking teeth, kind of like a walrus, that come out their top jaw. And then I think they even have like two that come out at the bottom one. So I was looking up pictures of mountain cats, or I don't know if that's the correct name for them, but pretty much the ones that kind of are there on the high hills and mountains and they always warn you about. And I kind of wanted to do, as I said, a hybrid version of it and not just make it be like a regular house cat. And these illustrations have been fun in the aspect in having to combine two species and make them one. So it's almost like as if I'm doing like a morphing, kind of like a scientific experiment when I put these illustrations together. So the reason I chose to do the rough sketch ahead of time was because, you know, when it comes to the point of editing a video, I am still learning and trying to figure out what would be the best part to keep in the video, and then what would be something that can be edited out or, you know, just gone to the good stuff. So the rough sketch I pretty much, as I said, did off while the camera was off, and decided to do the inking part, as you can see right now. So doing this illustration, it kind of brought back memories of my good old days when I was growing up and watching the cartoons called Thundercats. And if anybody out there that was born up in the 80s and 90s, you'll probably already know this. I mean, this cartoon was cool because it had so many different kind of cats featured in it. I mean, you had Lion-O, which was obviously a lion. You had Chitara, which was the cheetah. And then there was Panthro, which was the panther. And I'm trying to think who else. There's Tigra, which is the tiger, and so on and so forth. The cool part about this cartoon, what I enjoy about it growing up, is how they kind of take these cats and they kind of create these fictional characters out of each cat, and how they incorporate each element of those cats into these creatures or these cartoons, which I thought was really cool for the time. Even the animation, the colors and everything, you know. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this illustration of this cat. When I think of cats in general, I think the most interesting characteristic that they possess is definitely their eyes, because I mean, they've got like a really unique eye, and when you look at their pupil and if you compare it to like other species, and I think the most coolest thing that I ever noticed for the first time ever was, if you've ever shined a light on a cat, if it's in the dark, I mean, their eyes shine like as if there was a light emitted out of them, which is really cool. And I don't think I've ever seen it in any other creature out there now that I'm thinking about it, but it just is so cool. Like, you know, I mean, yes, another creature that has beautiful eyes of the animal kingdom would definitely have to be an owl and a bald eagle. I mean, those are just another set of beautiful eyes. I mean, like, you know, it's the nice bright yellow and the black, and yeah, but that's what was my thought process when I was creating the eye part and, like, you know, drawing these eye sockets over here, and just thinking of what cool eyes they got. What do you say? Incarnated? Not incarnated, but kind of like were part of their evolution process. I've already probably figured out by now that the drift of this channel is featured on drawing skulls and skeletons. And what's really cool about this topic is that every living being, whether it be an animal, a bird, or a human, has got each of its skulls or skeletons are unique in their own specific way. Like, I mean, if you were to take a skeleton of a baby and compare it to, I don't know, another baby, or maybe an adult man or a woman, each skull and skeleton has I kind of feel like it has its own story to tell. I mean, that's kind of my weird way of thinking, but I think the whole point and why I like and enjoy drawing skulls and skeletons is because it is the most basic form of life, and when it comes to it, it's all universal. I mean, there's nothing really to judge anymore, because I mean, it's down to like literally the bare bones, or as the saying goes. And that's what's so liberating about drawing skulls and skeletons. I mean, yes, I try to tell a story with each piece, and with these ones, obviously it's just an illustration, but with my other personal work that I do, there's always a story attached to each piece as to what was the thought process as to when I created these pieces. So when it comes time to choosing color for these illustrations, I usually try to mix and match the colors that I have used. Like now for the previous one, the dog, I used just blue and a beige for the teeth. And then for this one, I chose purple. The reason I chose purple is because I really don't use purple in a whole lot of my illustrations, just like I don't use yellow. And the reason I don't use them is because I don't have a whole lot of experience when it comes to shading these colors. And I know, yes, that's not an excuse. And what I like to do is with, especially like with colors like purple and yellow and these colors that I haven't used a whole lot, I always try to push the limits and see how far I can get to making the color look as bright as it possibly can. Like, I mean, yes, the tablet, since it's lit, it makes the color look brighter than it usually is. But if you can incorporate this level of, shadows and highlights in an actual real traditional piece, I mean, that's really where you understand, like, how everything comes together. So for this part over here, I chose the selection tool, and well, not here, obviously, the part before this, and just wanted to lay down the darker shades of purple. And for the second half of the video, you'll see that I chose to use the Smudge tool, which is a cool feature which I like of Procreate. I mean, it's also a similar feature that's available in Photoshop. And what's cool about the feature is exactly what it is, Smudge. You can take two colors and kind of like digitally mix them together and see what kind of a color you get, And I had a lot of fun doing it with the dog illustrations. I figured I'd do it with this one as well. And then I wanted to try the pinks and the beige, kind of like, for the highlight part, which is obviously later down in the video. But yeah, doing these, or the coloring part of it is definitely fun, because I mean, there's so many things you can play around with and, try different things. And the best part is because it's digital, I mean, if you mess up, I mean, you can always start from scratch, which is not something that you can do when you're doing a traditional piece. So I'd chosen those few swatches ahead of time to see what kind of colors in the purple spectrum that I wanted to use, and seeing how they would turn out. Some turned out a little darker than usual, and then some were a little light, so then I kind of just eyeballed it and just adjusted it here and there just to make sure that it looks perfect on the phone, because usually what I'm doing is when I'm recording these, I'm looking at my phone, looking at the screen to see if the purple that I have chosen in this case whether it still looks like the same color or it's a shade or two a little bit different. But yeah, the smudge tool definitely gives a nice, very supple, very cool kind of a digital blotch, as you want to call it, to the illustration. So it really makes the it changes the whole dynamics of what the illustration will actually look like. So this part, as I said, is just about laying down the darker shades of color and, you know, just following the illustration part by part till you get to the part of the blending aspect. So yeah, but I think now when I look at my list of the illustrations that I have and that I want to create for you guys, this is one of them. Oh, this is one to be checked off. And then there are a list of other skulls that I wanted to draw. And what I usually do is I go to YouTube and under the search and check to see if there's anybody else that has actually made an illustration or something on that nature. I mean, if it does not look like it has been made, then yes, you know, I go ahead and make it. But if it looks like it's been made by somebody else and there was not a good response, then, you know, I kind of like, you know, just don't record the video, but I'll make the art and just kind of keep it for my own personal collection, you know. Because at the end of the day, what I like to do is with these illustrations is so that they don't take up a whole lot of space on my tablet, I convert them into stickers. And I think that's a good way to, you know, recycle images or illustrations that you've done. And for these ones up in particular, I've been using Procreate, which is a raster format of drawing. And the reason I've not been doing any illustrations on Adobe Fresco, at least for the channel, is because when you illustrate in Fresco, the tablet seems to get a little laggy. And I figured since I'm just doing these illustrations just for fun and not for anything personal for my sake, I figured I'd do it in Procreate, so that way if I need to vectorize them in the future, I mean, I could just go off the line art and then, you know, just build something off that way. So that way I don't end up using a whole lot of space on my Google Photos where I back up my images. And, you know, you guys get a cool video in exchange. So as you can see over here now, I started using the smudge tool. And what's really cool about it is how it digitally blends the color and kind of gives it that nice, almost like an airbrush kind of a look. And then now see for this part, this is the part I enjoyed the most, like, you know, kind of like, you know, just changing up that dark purple with the lighter purple and just kind of mixing it on the screen, which is obviously, I mean, something, this is another thing that you can do when you're painting in real life. You kind of like, you know, mix two paints and then it has this nice, very supple kind of a mixture going on, and then you have the two colors blend together. So yeah, here's another part which I liked the most, also enjoyed doing it when I was doing it, is the fact that, you know, how I could give these kind of like these nice streaks to the bottom jaw. It almost looks like, you know, that this skull or the character that I'm creating was in some sort of a battle, and these are like just some scratch marks that were left on the skin, and then it kind of buried its way and got into the skull. So that's kind of what I was trying to mimic or kind of make it seem like in this part of the shading. So it almost has like that brushed kind of like a what do you call it, like a rubbed kind of rug burn kind of look, like, you know, like the cat was like literally kind of scraping its mouth on the ground surface, you know, and it got kind of scratched. But it's amazing what you can do with these digital tools. And you know, especially like if you don't like how it turns out, I mean, you can just redo it and you know, just go from there. Like in most of these illustrations when I do it, it's a learning process, you know. I mean, if I don't like it, I mean, I'll just trash it and then start a new one. But I remember the older drawings that I've done in the past. I mean, like, yeah, when you do something like this and you mess up, there is no starting back up, and there's no double tapping, and there's no Control Z. So, you know, I mean, digital drawing and traditional art has got its own pros and cons. But the best part is when you combine the pros of each of them and you bring them together, then, you know, you can truly get the best of both worlds. So there's another artist that I follow online, and his channel goes by the name of Peter Draws. And I remember in one of his videos, he had got a skull. I'm not sure if it was an actual real skull or if it was just a plastic version. But what was cool is he had a burning tool and what is it called? Pyrography. I think that's the correct term. And he actually doodled all over the skull. So it was really cool to see him do the burning process and, like, you know, look at this beige cream color skull kind of get transformed into this cool doodle all over the whole skull. I don't know why I thought about that, but I just thought I'd share it with you guys. But as I was saying earlier, is I chose a nice bright pink to illustrate the highlight part of it, which is what I did when I was looking at the color wheel to see which would be the best color. I was initially thinking of a lighter purple, but then after trying it before hitting record, I was noticing that, you know, it was not showing up a whole lot. So this one was definitely, I was definitely liking it, and I think when it compares to when it's applied on the darker portions of the illustration, it almost gives it that nice neon kind of a look, which is a really cool look and feel, like, you know, especially when if you're going to be making these into stickers, and you know, just the whole look and feel of it. But as I said, like, you know, the purple color is definitely an interesting color to work with, because I mean, you know, you can mess it up, but you can also correct it also at the same time. And I think when it comes to the purple and the yellow is what I was saying earlier, and I think I prefer the purple as opposed to the yellow. But now when you combine, if I were to make this illustration in purple and yellow, I think it would have probably turned out a whole lot brighter, because you know, I don't know if it's got anything to do with the primary and secondary colors. I'm gonna have to rephrase on that. But yes, the purple and yellow kind of goes well. I think it was one of the characters that they did in the comic books. I think it's called the Phantom, where he had like the whole purple cape and the yellow eyes, or unless I'm thinking of something else. But anyway, but as you can see, the beige what I used for the teeth kind of also make the skull have that nice electrified look to it. And then I tried this part with the selection tool and just kind of gave the skull more texture added to what I've already done. But for the most part, this was a fun illustration, and I think I had the most fun coloring the teeth, since they had that nice raw, rugged texture to it than the other illustrations I've done. But anyway, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap this video up by saying, keep creating, keep drawing. I will see y'all down the road or on the other side. Stay tuned for the next one, which is gonna be a cool crocodile. Till next time, see ya. Bye for now.